All right, we're getting away from the point here. Caller, my bad, dog.
All right, sounds good. Listen, hear about that local talent.
Under the influence.
So what up, dog?
Shit, we're chilling. What time are you gonna get that freestyles on? Tonight at all or no?
Oh, definitely tonight. Probably in about, I mean, after the next break.
It's good to start listening at 1. We'll say we do it at 1, but that's when you start listening, and then we eventually do it before 2.
Yeah.
All right,
We'll
yeah,
procrastinate big time.
Yeah. We got off at a late start, so we're trying to, build up some music, get some things going on like that, dog. But hey, how long you been listening to the show?
All the homies are coming around right now. They're all trying to get on. Everybody just heard like the shout outs.
All right, just hey, real quick.
Hey.
What up, dog? Go ahead and raise up the phone and let them all just say something real quick.
I'm raising the phone right now. What side is the representative? Something. West side, baby. Keeping it, everybody's yelling their shit out.
So, I had my little crew, our crew, with Jason, Jizz, Hornay, and Ski Mask, and Aaron, Apex. We were going by Mindspit then, but we weren't taking it seriously. We were doing it for fun. And then it wasn't until I met like some of the cats that were really into the scene, like Knock, Devious, and those guys. And Knock was one of the first person I met outside the crew and started working with.
End up hearing the station 1100 AM. When I lived downtown, I used to live off of 3rd Street in Lake Thomas. And so I heard this hip hop station and it was vibing. It was just a bunch of hip hop that I'm familiar with, Premier, all kinds of stuff. So I end up hearing like one of the DJs said something about you could drop some music off. So I didn't go that night. I think I ended up going like the next night. And when I ended up going the next night, I think the person that answered the door was Shogun.
He actually came up, I was working overnights at the radio station. We're in the middle of downtown Phoenix. You only have bums coming around there at that time of night when there's nothing going on. So, we get a little ring at the video messenger at the door or whatever, a little thing. And he was actually trying to promote, he had his EP. There was another radio show, hip hop show, Blackout, with High Toe, Nighthawk, and Gerald 3D, but they weren't there that night, so he ended up playing me his stuff. I was like, I didn't know there was hip hop like that out here. Being in Phoenix and what I was exposed to, you had that. It was more of a West Coast vibe. You had that sound. That's what was going on. But that wasn't what I really, I liked that. I listened to that stuff, but what I was really into was that East Coast sampled hip hop, and that this is the first time I was like, there's actually artists out here doing that.
And so Shogun was with a different show called Under the Influence, and they had been running on a different night. And so he was like, yeah, yo, I know what High Tone them. This is what time they come on and stuff. And if you drop your music off, we'll play your stuff too. You know what I'm saying? So he was mad cool. We ended up chopping it up there on the spot. Listen to some of his beats. He listened to some of my rhymes.
So I happened to have a beat tape with me, beat CD, and we sat in my car, or maybe it was Knox's car, and we were sitting in the parking lot listening to that.
We just connected from the gate, pretty much. That next week, I want to say we linked up and recorded damn near a whole album. Like the first session, we linked up. I introduced him to my boy Diggs at the time, who was like my manager. I knew him from a former crew I was with called The Collective. And that was kind of the beginning of, you know, Mindspit was already kind of in place, but then Diggs kind of brought a little bit of extra to it. And then we ended up going to a show, and we had already kind of discussed how, you know, they wanted to get more people involved with the label. So we went to a show, and I want to say I had met DEVIOUS at a show and invited him to the studio.
And then we ended up linking up that way, and then through the radio station as well, we, you know, were promoting, you know, DEVIOUS tells the story. I remember it a little differently, but we, I thought I first met him at the ASU, the Blaze, the radio show. I thought I met DEVIOUS there, but I could have met him. There was a show at the Armory Salvation, you know, the Armory on the ASU campus, and that's kind of how I think the three of us, Knock and DEVIOUS, linked up there and all really started chopping up.
I think I just happened to come out here and meet some of the best people to work with, you know what I mean? Running into Mindspit was definitely a good ordeal, you know what I mean? They already had the studio set up, ready to go, and Shogun, he had those kind of tracks that had, you know, that kind of different, you know what I mean? I was looking for something different, you know what I mean? I could have easily did some G-Funk kind of action around about that time, but he had tracks that were sounding different, so, and those tracks actually worked real well for what we was trying to do.
And I remember, I think how we went to the Armory, and I did a battle there. So got on some radio stuff with Mikey on the mic. I'm going bouncing back and forth, but remember, I think Mikey on the mic, and we did the 9 o'clock call. I was always on there calling in for my job. You know, yo, what's up? What's on your mind? It's a 9 o'clock call. You know, anybody locally knew who that was. We all got on there, man, and I remember winning it like 6 times in a row. I got some Wu-Tang tickets or something like that, and I think that might have been the show. No Question was that, but I don't know. I think it's probably way before then. But that's about how I got started, really. Yeah, I mean, that's really about how I really got started in Arizona as far as hip hop here.
I started DJing out here about '97. I moved out here from New York. I never DJed, and I wasn't hearing a lot of the music I was accustomed to hearing, and so I just on a whim one day I decided I would get some turntables. Called my homie Sure Ones out in New York. Was like, yo, what do I need to get? He dialed me in. I called up Sam Ash Music in New York City, cashed him out, and had him send a bunch of shit out, and that was that. I started DJing with some homies. We had a crew named T3, technical turntable technicians, and we didn't know what we were doing. We were just kind of figuring it out. I wasn't really working per se, and so I had a lot of time on my hands. I was, you know, just kind of doing my thing, really soaking up the culture, learning everything, and teamed up with my boy Megadeth, a little young protege. He was 15 at the time. I was 25, I believe, maybe 24. It was weird. That dude was on some other level.
So I guess really got started with friends in high school, you know, just doing our thing, and I was kind of the one, like I used to rap. I was terrible. So I started being the one that like gravitated towards the equipment. Like we had a little 4-track cassette and all that, you know. We had, I had a keyboard, but we didn't have a sequencer. So I couldn't like sequence the songs. I would sit there, play hi-hat for 4 minutes, you know, on the 4-track and the drum and all that. So I kind of started getting into it then, and then we started taking it a little bit more seriously. And towards like the end of high school, you know, we had our little group, our little crew, ZSC, you know, it was like FREESTYLE, Jizz, Ski Mask, all of us. And then it probably wasn't, I didn't start getting serious about it until I started meeting more people while working over at KFNX.
So AM 1100 is a talk radio station, and they broker out all of their time. So basically what they would do is they get independent creators, people who wanted to host a radio show, and they would sell them blocks of time. I ran the board for those shows. I ran the boards just all throughout these random talk shows. But what was nice about this is at night, they would allow for people who were interested in doing music to, you know, start doing shows and things like that.
When I first started there, it was Renaissance Radio and / Revolution Radio. It was talk during the day and music at nighttime.
It was kind of a smaller talk radio station. It wasn't very popular. But at night, after 10 o'clock, they switched the format. So all of us engineers, we got our own radio shows.
So basically, if you had enough money to buy a couple of hours or whatnot, I'd be a board op, or somebody else that worked with me would also be a board op at 1100. We help you basically produce your show.
So when I first started doing it, I was just brought my friends on. You know, we would just talk shit and play whatever music we want. I would bring some DJs in once in a while. And then it didn't really start taking that show seriously until Jason started working at the radio station. Jizz, you know, was going by Jizz Hornay at the time.
I was a board op for this radio station, and when you worked there, they gave everybody a free half-hour or hour, and so I would go on there and play some music. I got the job because of my buddy Ruben. He was the one that plugged me up with it, and so he had a show, and then I met there's probably like 3 or 4 other people that had shows on the channel.
Well, I guess we all came together because we all worked there. Shogun was a producer. He did all the production work for all of the talk and music shows. So basically, he did all the intros, the outros, and all the things. All the magic you don't really, you know who does it. He did all that. Jason was a board op as well as me. They had known each other for, I guess, probably since high school. So I know they had a tie together, and I know that they were doing music.
And he started doing the Under the Influence, and then I started co-hosting the Under the Influence show with him. And we started really branching out, really promoting it.
Because at the time they didn't have anything that was for local music. I don't even think they had a song that they would play on the radio for your local artists and stuff like that. So I was like thinking to myself, well, let me show them what we can do, and hopefully we could pitch it to them. However, the thing with it is like the show was really more about the community and who would call, who would show up. You know, I didn't really have an agenda in a sense. Like, we wouldn't really plan our show out. We might plan some music, but the topics were all just like kind of off cuff. You know, the whole flow of the show was like kind of just the flow, whatever would happen. So a lot of the times artists were upset with, you know, Power, right? So they'd be on the show and be like, yo, fuck Power 92, this is the realest motherfucking shit, you know. And like, as the host, you're kind of just like, yeah, you know, fuck it, we out here doing it.
I think the thing that got us the most promotion was that we would actually take calls from, you know, all the jails, Durango, stuff like that. They would call collect, we would take their collect calls and let them freestyle on the radio. And it kind of grew from there. Like, they would tell their people at home, hey, listen to me, I'm on this radio show. And so it just blew up from there. Then we started bringing people in to do freestyles. We would have our Freestyle Friday.
Devious crown holder, going for 2 weeks in a row. Let's see if he can ante up. Live freestyle, AM 1100.
Check it out, y'all. Freestyle, please believe it. Me, Mike D, and Heat Stroke. We about to take the rest of these MCs, suck them up like weed smoke, and blow them out the nose hole. Devious, when you hear me on the microphone, you say I'm so cold, like Eskimos walking through the snow with no clothes. Best believe Devious, he does what he knows. I don't talk about toting guns or pistols. I just spit shit off to the top, and y'all say that shit's cool. Best believe it, dog, the top, I will achieve it. This whack shit in the game, AZ don't need it. Fuck that, if you don't like me, I got to get more dough than Spike Lee. Have my wrist icy, but I ain't got no dough right now, ain't got no ducats. And if you see the parking lot, you know I drive a bucket. Fuck that, it ain't got no.
There was a lot of times when you'd be up front battling, and there'd be a whole crowd of your peers, so it had that kind of, it just had that authentic feel to it. You know what I'm saying? So.
And then all of a sudden, you know, the station started getting attention through other states, because on AM 1100 you had to power down during the day, right? There's like this time, like, okay, the station is gonna be 50,000 watts during the day, but at night you had to power down to like something like 1,000 watts, because I guess at night radio frequencies travel further. So I was the one to control that, being that, so I would be on playing these music at midnight, all the bosses are asleep, I'm fucking powering up. Boom, 50,000 watts at night on an AM 1100 station. We were getting calls from like Tennessee, from the East Coast, being like, yo man, I hear you playing that song, man, where you guys out of? I'd be like, man, we're out of like Phoenix, Arizona. Like, what?
I guess the difference between 1100 and all the other, I guess, FM powerhouse stations were we kind of used what was called safe harbor. A lot of radio stations didn't use that. After 10 o'clock, you were able to cuss, you were allowed to play cussing or swear words.
I don't know how the hell it blew up, just word of mouth. You know, back then there wasn't, you know, we weren't doing internet promotion or like nothing like that. It was just, we were playing whatever music we wanted. We were playing local stuff. We didn't have anyone controlling what we were playing. So I think everyone just loved that, because there was never anything like that. Like we gave, you know, an opportunity to these artists who never thought they would have their music played over there. So obviously they're promoting it to everyone. Like, listen to the show, they might play my stuff. So
it was dope, because we had been on the radio prior to that. We was on 92, Power 92, and there was only so much you could do. But on 1100, man, you know, the cuffs were off, and we could do whatever we wanted. We could listen to whatever we wanted to. They play whatever music they wanted to. And when we got on the radio and we got on live freestyle battles, we could cuss, we could say whatever we want.
1100 AM, it just represented real hip-hop and AZ. It was a great platform. It was a great opportunity. I appreciated being part of it. You know, even that they would take my record zone and all that good stuff. And I think it impacted the whole scene out here in Arizona. I mean, it's so much to the fact that where it made Power feel like they had to make adjustments and support the locals even more so, because 1100 was having such a following. Big ass write up in news time and such. You know, at that point you really knew that 1100 was impacting the AZ scene. So I was just happy to be a part of it.
I remember at one point there was a line going outside for people waiting for freestyle. It just became a super live place to be, especially if you was an MC out here trying to prove yourself on some lyrical type of, you know what I mean, trying to show you got skills amongst your peers type of situation.
There was a guy, I forget his name, but he was really into what we were doing. He was really into the local hip hop scene out here. This little dirty white dude's funny. And he did an article on us, came out, shot some pictures, and did an article in the New Times. That really helped promote us as well.
And what's funny about it is, it seems like what we were doing is way before what traditional radio and all them are doing now. I guess we kind of, I don't know if they were actually listening or paying attention, but the things that we were doing were actually, it wasn't traditional, and it was fun, and it was in the scheme of what we were doing, and it all worked. So it was a great experience. Barbecues, dominoes.
You know, smoking out the fucking bathroom, you know.
We had blunt rolling competitions.
The fact that it was a kegger from 12 to 4 a.m., you know what I'm saying?
We had strippers in the studios. We had, you know, all kinds of crazy things going on.
Food and the fights. I mean, I think at one point, if I'm not mistaken, somebody actually shot through the window, I think.
yeah, we had all sorts of shit going on now that it would never fly at any standard radio station. It was just like the perfect environment. So, and then, you know, like all these MCs, all these crews started coming in, and, you know, just got to meet a lot of people, and, you know, we started doing some KFNX shows and stuff like that. So yeah, it's kind of how that really blew up.
Well, I guess for people that never really got a chance to hear anything or actually experience it, it was something totally different than, I guess, I've never even been a part of something like that. It was more of a conglomerate of everybody that was hip-hop related, that had the love for hip-hop, that was kind of underground. Everybody just came together and we started doing crazy stuff.
All right, well, you know what? We got someone calling that's locked up right now. KFNX, who's this?
Yeah, what's up? This is Big Chuck Wizard, keeping it down.
What up? What up, dog?
What's up,
What's up, man?
How you doing?
I'm cool. We're chilling in Tent City right now.
How's it going out there?
It's all right. You know, Friday night, we try to do our thing every day.
That's cool.
Can I give a few shout-outs?
Do your thing.
Sure.
Yeah, you know, it's Chuck Wizard. I keep it down 1083. I got my homie Rooster right here. Homie Jizz kicking it around. Razorback's kicking it right here. Everybody keeps it locked. You know, it's Tent City. You know, got us wearing the pink every day.
It's all good though.
Yeah.
At least everyone's wearing it.
Yeah, you know what's up.
So all of a sudden we started catching a bunch of like people that were locked up in prisons or in jail, listening to AM radio, coming across an unedited music channel, and it kind of like you know, kind of went from there. But for me, that's where it started, was just running their board and trying to take advantage of that little window they gave me. And
prisoners was calling in and spitting on the air. They was calling in requesting songs. They was calling in giving a lot of the MCs props. I mean, the freestyle battles were dope. It was spitting inside, outside, strippers, kegs. It was insane, bro. It was a kegger from like midnight to 4 in the morning. But that was a really dope time, man. I remember it vividly. Well, not vividly, because a lot of times I was a little faded. But
the boss over at AM 1100 would be like, you know, unsure why we were getting all of these letters in addressed to me and under the influence. So that's kind of what piqued their interest. Because at that time we had taken, like I said, I was only supposed to get an hour. So we had stretched it into a Friday, a Saturday, and a Sunday from like midnight to 4, because we knew the bosses were sleeping. So all of a sudden now we're getting in these letters. So the owner of the company comes into me and says, "Hey man, why are you getting all these letters going on?" And I'm like, "Oh, you know, we're just doing this thing." So he starts tuning in. Then they want us to start paying for it. So that's when we even had to take it more serious, you know, where we had to go out there and get sponsors. Shout out to all the sponsors. We had like pizza sponsors. We had local labels who wanted to sponsor. We had like events and stuff like that. Like the community started rallying behind this show.
Well, it was the format, really. I mean, there was no, I guess there was no parental guidance allowed. It wasn't PG. It was, I mean, we could do whatever they wanted. They could play whatever music they wanted. They could do whatever they wanted on air. I mean, the battles on air were dope. I mean, it was just night and day from like commercial radio stations to what we was doing at 1100, man. It was just, nobody in the state was doing that. Nobody. I would like to say that 1100 AM, even though it was an AM channel, man, it was listened to by a lot. Everybody went down to the station on Friday nights, man. At least that's the night I went. But no other station in town was doing it, man. It was, what they was doing was, it ain't been done since.
What ended up happening at the end in order for the show to kind of like end up
gone? Yeah. The radio station, it was too much. You know, we started getting a lot of attention.
So I would imagine that the people that own that place probably was like, yeah, we'll cut it at the gun show. It's not the naked strippers and whores, but you know what I'm saying? But somebody must have told somebody, and they had a good run though. No doubt. Yeah, they had a good run.
Twitch at High in Arizona. I've got a marijuana lounge that I'm opening up here in Tempe, Arizona on Mill Avenue. It hopefully will be here by the end of 2021. Come visit, come hang out. It's, you know, for anybody over 21 and up that wants to come get high.